Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Lady Justice Talks, where curiosity meets law. Today, you're here with your host, Anita, and two of our beautiful guests. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mehakpreet. I am a second year in the Law and Society program, and I'm an event coordinator at Willa.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sanzala Achakzai, and I'm also a second year student in Law and Society, and I'm also an event coordinator.
That's amazing. They're both a part of the Willa team, Willa on top. So you both mentioned that you're both Law and Society students, which is pretty interesting. You guys are always studying about the law, I presume, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That brings us back to today's topic, which is on controversial law topics. So, being a woman studying so many laws, I was wondering, what are your thoughts on the woman right laws that exist at the moment?
So, in Law and Society, you learn not only about law, but how it connects to basically every area of society. And one of them is intersectionality. So intersectionality would just be like the different character traits that make up of who we are. And the law affects us as women and, aspiring to go into the legal field because, for example, if you look at the states and abortion rights, globalization is also another thing that we learn about. So we learn about how the decision that they make in the states about abortion affects us in Canada as women.
Really?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
because the women who aren't able to access abortions in America, they have to travel to Canada to get abortion.
That's so interesting.
I hadn't heard of that, actually.
Yeah. So, and when they do come, it creates accessibility issues, unfortunately, because they can't access it, and also because so many of them are coming in, it creates a problem for Canadian women, especially those in rural areas, because it's already almost impossible to access it there.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense. And abortion is a big topic that is spoken about a lot and has a lot of different perspectives on it regarding whether abortion should be legal or not. And that could bring me up to my second question. What are your thoughts exactly on abortion? So in Canada, abortion is legal. Right? Abortion is legal, but obviously, for example, in some countries and like such as the United States and some states of it, it's not legal. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like for some areas, it's very based on a male's perspective on abortion, and even though it's a woman's body and it should be essentially a woman's choice, obviously circumstances should be considered around why the person wants an abortion, but restricting them fully without any explanation or reason takes away a woman's right to their own body.
I think it's pretty good. I think it's really good that we have that choice.
Yeah.
Because based on personally, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I'm pretty sure we've all seen people in situations that they're not ready to have children.
For sure.
I don't know, simply I'm 20 right now. I just turned 20. I'm very much sure that I'm not ready to have a child right now. It's not going to happen. But also there's just also some scenarios that you don't want.
Yeah, and those are basically the circumstances I'm talking about. Also financially, some people are just not able to have a child and take care of it for
Exactly.
the upbringing of a child, and having both the mother and the father there can be a big challenge for not just the child itself, but also the people who are taking care of
Or
it.
they're just not mentally ready. They're not emotionally
Yeah,
ready.
exactly.
They're not in their not even just the woman, maybe the man as well. I think it's just his choice that it's good to be there. Do you guys agree?
I do agree, and I feel like not having it takes away a woman's bodily autonomy, which is just so degrading to women in general, because this is just such a big aspect, and it would affect every area of her life, especially employment.
Yeah.
Employment is also another thing. So I know that a woman get paid 71% of what men get paid, but we outnumber them.
Intellectually.
Yeah, we outnumber them. So what are your thoughts on that?
I feel like politically and also historically, men have always had the upper hand or like have been more powerful compared to women. And in the past, it's obviously because of agricultural reasons, strength, physical, and etc. to provide for the family. But now, I feel like male and female are more set up in the workplace equally. No one has the upper hand in like better skills and such, but still women are looked down upon in a sense.
Which is interesting because we also see men going into fields that would be predominantly female based.
For sure.
So it's like they're both mixing up because
sure.
it's like proving to show that like we could do like the same type of jobs and you guys can do. But do you have any thoughts on that as well?
Yeah, I do agree, and I just feel like just like having children as a whole is like really like mostly associated with women and motherhood, and that is used like oftentimes in employment by employers like as a form of bias. Like they keep that in mind when they're hiring. Like I know a lot of women have reported like in interviews they've been asked like, are you married, are you planning on having kids?
Yeah, they do ask that.
Yeah, they do ask that.
Like what?
I know.
Like so is the man. Like what difference does that
what
make?
difference does it make? Yeah.
Yeah, but being a mother, like maternity leaves, I've heard is a very also spoken of a lot, a topic that's spoken of a lot regarding maternity leaves, how much maternity leave women should get, should they get paid, should they stay home after they have the child, like, or should they come back?
Yeah.
Is their position going to be stolen when they go on maternity leave? Like, there's just a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like you were looking at me like,
because it can be both ways, okay? So some people don't get enough maternity leave, and some people take advantage of the resources and they take more than they should. And so that sort of puts a limit on how much the government is allowed to give to a woman. But obviously they have a right to be with the child after they've given birth. And even for a child's upbringing, motherhood is so important, as well as fatherhood. It's not just that the mother needs to take maternity leave. Father should also be allowed a certain amount of time to take care of the child, because it's not a one-person job at all.
It's not.
But a lot of people, I guess, expect just
for her to sacrifice everything.
Yeah.
And just stay at home. And if she doesn't stay at home, then society-wise, like, that also.
Even policies of the maternity leave, there should be some sense of financial support. Maybe not, like, the full wage that the woman or the father gets when they're working, but even, like, a portion of it can help them get through the sum of the months that they're taking leave.
For example, I know that Japan was the first country to implement like maternity or menstrual leave. Like, I think it was 1 to 3 business days, 1 to 3 days long. So if maternity leave and menstrual leaves are not productive, why would such an advanced country like Japan implement such a like policy, such a law?
I think maybe because they took into account, like, it's, like, overall well-being for especially female employees who are already so marginalized in society. And I think that helps, like, their country's progression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, well, obviously, if it turned out to be, like, a bad law, a bad policy, they would have took that away, too.
Yeah. And pregnancy is biological. You can't, like, tell a woman, no, you can't get pregnant just because you're part of this job.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, oh, you have this job, please try not to get pregnant or something.
Because everything's they always say there's a 99.999% chance.
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do about that 0.001% chance if it does happen? Which is also brings us back to the abortion laws and how it's good to have that choice because it might happen.
Also, like, I remember you saying something about like getting back to work after maternity leave, and it's really hard because you're not really promised a job still. That should be another policy that's implemented, like a flexible return to work, and that can be like.
I feel like, I think obviously maternity leave is basically you can leave and come back.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've seen a lot of people stress about it. Like, am I gonna be able, like, even though it's a law, like, why does that stress exist when we're basically supposed to be guaranteed that when we come back, we're able to go back to the same position.
Yeah.
Like, why does, or how maternity leaves, or just being a woman that has a, or being a mother not doesn't allow us to move up as fast as a man would, right? Have you guys seen that? Because I feel like I've seen it firsthand. Like, they can't make the same progress as
for sure. Yeah, because that's like, and like it's like a leave in their resume, for example. Meanwhile, like the man had all that time to just like walk
Gain
up
more
like the ladder, for
experience.
sure.
Yeah, and I like, just to make it more general, so we're all women here, you guys are Law Society programs, what would you say, is there any law that you guys would want to rewrite? Since we're talking about employment and abortion and all that, is there any laws that you guys would want to rewrite?
So I feel like the Employment Equity Act could be rewritten, even though it centralizes around providing equality for both genders. It can strengthen its protection for like gender biases, and also move away from more discrimination and specified towards marginalized groups.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure, I agree. Yeah, I feel like it's like really like harmfully affects women in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was actually pretty interesting that you brought up, because a lot of people, I feel like, don't look in the employment laws to be rewritten.
Yeah, and another thing I wanted to mention, like regarding discrimination in workplaces, was in the past in the media, I feel like we've all heard about the religious symbols that have been sort of banned in workplaces. I think specifically it was Bill 21 in Quebec, but also even though Quebec is in Canada and they're trying to work around it, France has a really strong stance against religious symbols.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like it's a law, even though it says that in the rule of law that the law applies to everyone fairly. This law in particular is targeting a certain demographic of people that do wear like religious symbols that would easily identify them. So that really marginalizes the people that are already marginalized in society, and that creates just so many like further inequities for them.
Yeah.
Also because... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. And, like, more specifically, they talked about how religious symbols like hijabs, turbans, also, like, I'm part of the Sikh community, so, like, garbans are also not really allowed too much in workplaces because they're so-called, like, weapons.
I remember that.
I remember back in high school, I
that
read
one
a whole case.
Yeah.
This is actually a pretty famous case, too, where I think they were wearing a turban. Yeah. And it was this whole discussion of whether it should be legal or not because they could hide weapons in the thing. But that, like, I don't think... it's not good.
Part of our religion is not to use it as a weapon at all.
For sure.
At all. Okay, for personally, our religious beliefs are to protect everyone.
Yes.
And that specific religious symbol is there to protect everyone along with ourselves from any danger. And that doesn't mean to use it on like a regular daily basis. Like if someone's like hitting you up in the parking lot, like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, you're gonna pull that up? No, that is not it at all. It's needs to be kept in a respectful manner since it's part of a religious tradition.
Also, the thing is that Canada itself is known as like
diverse.
A diverse country, which is what's really unique about it. You can find all types of people from all different backgrounds, all different religions in Canada. So if you're going to restrict that and take the one thing that's really, like, that makes them, then what are you doing?
Like what you stand for.
What's going, like, you know what I mean? That doesn't really stand for, I feel like, what Canada has portrayed itself to look like.
Yeah, and the bill in Quebec specifically, like, they restrict people wearing visible religious symbols in like government offices, teaching, I think lawyers and judges as well. You cannot be like showing your religion, which is so unfair and crazy when Canada claims to be like an inclusive and diverse community.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not showing to be.
And this, so we've covered a lot of like questions about abortion, employment, religion, all of those. I was just thinking about the fact that, okay, trying to go into law, right?
Yeah.
You're going to law, right? And we talked about what one law was that you guys would change, but I just want to also get a more in depth, since as a woman's perspective in law, like the barriers that women face in the legal field. I've heard a lot about it, how they're not seen the same, how they're not seen on the same level, or like they have restrictions, like if you like I've heard about female lawyers being like, oh, I showed up in court and they didn't believe I was a lawyer. Like we're in 2024, what's going on? So what do you guys think of that?
I want to share, this isn't my experience, but I think in May, I don't know if you guys attended the Empower Her panel.
Of course.
That one was, it talked a lot about this topic, because I think there was one lawyer who was a criminal defense lawyer, and she was talking about her story, how she went into the courtroom and they assumed that, I think she was either
the accused sister
or a paralegal. Like, it's crazy. Also, like the other lawyer, she talked about how she was in construction law, and that's a very male-dominant area
of course.
Law. And she gets sort of looked down upon from her coworkers just because she's a female working in that field.
Which is, would you like to ask?
Well, I was also just going to say, like, my overall takeaway from that event, too, was it was just, like, another barrier was that they constantly have to prove themselves. Like, as if, like, going through education and training and internships and everything wasn't enough. They have to prove themselves constantly to their male colleagues and their superiors and, like, proving, like, their worth in, like, their field.
And obviously, there's been so many laws that have started to give us the equality in Canada, at least, that we deserve. But obviously, we also still see these stereotypes. We have a whole nother episode on stereotypes against women. But how would you guys say for these laws? So we talked about rewriting laws, but how would you say, what would be some solutions for these type of laws? Do you have any suggestions for all the, like, topics that we just discussed?
Well, I feel like, thankfully, like, just being a part of WIL, like, I'm seeing so many, like, females, like, aspiring to go into the legal field. So I feel like that in itself, like, just, like, so many new entering female lawyers will for sure change, like, the overall, like, constricting mindset that the legal field as a whole has.
Yeah, and I'm not, like, female biased. Obviously, I love seeing men and female both in the legal field.
For sure.
And, like, compared to the past, there's been very few female lawyers in the past. And I think we learned about that in one of our classes as well. And now I love to see so many females come out in, like, our legal program, criminology, law and society, just all of, and just aspiring to be in the legal field. And it's, like, an equal number. It's not just there's more men or there's more female. Now it's more of an equal number. And it's really nice to see. It's, like, really welcoming.
It really is. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, we have been progressing, like, close to... I also want to hear about you guys' personal journeys. Like, I feel like that would be really interesting. Because, I don't know, I love the opinions that I'm hearing right now. And I just want to hear more about your personal journeys.
Would you like to start?
Sure. So growing up, like, you know, so I come from a background where, you know, women had a lot of freedom at one point, and that freedom, like, is taken away from them. And, like, just I really wanted to dedicate time into, like, doing internships that would really help women, especially. So I did a summer internship program at Afghan Women's Services. So they focus on, like, helping refugee women. And that just really made me realize, like, how much of the legal field is actually almost against women, like, not only here, but in, like, so many other countries. So, and, like, just seeing, like, all the powerful women around me, like, I really wanted to, like, I knew that I had to make a change.
And personally, I'm a first-generation Canadian. My parents immigrated here. And back home in India, there's been lots of gender biases. Females are not really looked upon as much. It's more like a male dominant country.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, there's a
favor
lot of
males
a lot of
more.
the countries back home, especially like third world countries and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
but,
colonialism like really brought like sexism
Yeah,
with it.
yeah, for
And the
sure.
legacy is still there.
But I'm proud to say that personally my family has never kept that gap in discrimination.
That's amazing.
And they've
That's
always like, I don't want to say this because it kind of just makes the stereotype like alive, but they've always kept me like equal to a son. Kind of feeds into the stereotype that yeah, sons are better in a way.
How we were talking about how it's kind of hard to progress as much as a man in the same field, working the same hours, the same maybe even wage, really doing the same amount of work. But then again, that all ties into all the but also you were talking about, since we were talking about abortion laws and all that, I just remembered child marriages.
Oh.
Child marriages is also a very big topic, but I think that also is a really good circumstance to bring about regarding whether abortion should be legal or not. Do you guys have any thoughts on those?
Well, I don't think child marriages are necessarily based around consent. It's more forced.
It's, yeah.
And in that sense, the abortion doesn't become like the person's choice either, because the marriage wasn't their choice.
It wasn't.
And
yeah.
so if they do want an abortion, it'll be so...
If you're under 18,
No.
I don't think you can, because you're a minor.
Yeah.
Under 18.
Yeah.
So legally, I think the age of consent is 16.
Oh, even I saw this on TikTok. Okay, it was like a 17-year-old is not allowed to adopt a child, but an 18-year-old is not allowed to get an abortion. I don't think that if that was Canadian based, but I think it was more American
I
based.
think it
Yeah.
might have been.
But that's so crazy, because if a 17-year-old feels ready to adopt a child, you're not going to let them. But if an 18-year-old wants an abortion, you're telling them no, you have to have the child.
Like that, like, what was it? I have to bring this up. Who was it? I think it was one of our lovely friends who pointed out that a lot of people our age are just having Red Bull as they wake up.
Yeah, like for
Yeah.
breakfast. Yeah.
Like, some people might be ready. Like, I personally have, like, seen people get married when they were, like, as soon as they hit 18, as soon as they hit 19. But I don't think
It's
a
not
lot
for
of-
everyone,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
not for everybody, and also child marriages like have a lot of like disadvantages, and
does,
well,
yeah.
obviously, but
Yeah.
also like psychologically,
You
Yeah,
take away
it
so many
mentally.
human rights of the child as well.
Yeah, I guess that's a different type of law, but thankfully we're in Canada too.
Yeah.
But it is interesting how an 18-year-old can't get an abortion in certain places, but a 17-year-old can't adopt.
Yeah.
Imagine being 18 and wanting to adopt.
Yeah.
But again, that also comes with its own circumstances. Like, what if they just want to adopt their brother or sister from
Right.
from domestic
still need to be
abusive
financially
parents? Yeah.
stable.
But also, there's also regarding abuse. There's a lot of laws regarding women being abused. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I feel like there should be much better protection for women under Canadian law, especially to be protected from forms of abuse like domestic abuse and sexual abuse, because I feel like we fall victim like too often.
Not only the protection from the abuse,
Abuse?
not,
Okay.
not only the protection from the abuse, but also being able to seek help without being scared or like without being sort of pushed aside, like, oh, that doesn't matter. Like, your case is not as serious. Move on to
Yeah.
the next one.
I've seen that happen. Okay, so thankfully, from what I've seen in Canada, there has been a lot of laws that protect women in a sense, like that like have given women the rights and freedoms, like to protect themselves. But I've also seen that they prioritize which case, because it happens so often. They're like, oh, really? That didn't happen? Like, it didn't go to that extent?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And because
like,
of that, victims are so scared to actually seek help from
Yeah.
police or from society, because first they're gonna be called victimized. Oh, like obviously they were.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they were in the situation. It happened to them. You don't know what
Yeah.
happened to the person. You can't justify
also
it.
that part about having to prove that it actually happened,
Yeah.
that's like
Yeah.
one of the hardest
Yeah.
parts. And also I feel like there's so many jokes about these type of like sexual assaults and all that it's not taken as seriously many of the times.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, like he did that. Or you guys, you know, when you're little, they tell you if a little boy like is being mean to you, they just
he
like
likes
you.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the best.
That's so dangerous.
That's not the best, because
Imagine it like holding that up in court.
wait,
Imagine.
no, because you're in court and they're gonna be like, oh, he just did that to you because he likes you. That's his way of showing.
Yeah, that's not good.
That would
No.
not go well. That would not go well at all.
No, I think that also be not really professional.
Well, I remember you talking about personal journeys, and I don't want to disclose like my work or where I work, but I am personally in a more male-dominant field. I feel like the people who know me know, and I really hope no one exposes me.
Why? What's
Tell us
wrong?
on camera.
Because it's so funny. Like,
Me.
Really?
Me. Okay.
yeah.
I wasn't expecting that.
Wait, I like. There's a lot of jobs that could be male dominated. Which why is that? But also like,
I'm so
I think,
sorry, but I
like,
thought of tractors.
no.
How did you think? I just thought of some like office job and like corporate whatever. That's okay.
So since my job is very male dominant, I always see men around me.
Of course, I mean, yeah.
And sometimes I'm the only woman on site, and I don't want to say it's uncomfortable, but obviously as a woman around many males, I do feel a little out of place. And my coworkers are the most amazing people ever. Like, I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
They're so nice. They're so welcoming. And I've never had a moment where I felt uncomfortable. Just knowing that I'm the only woman there,
The principle of it.
yeah, sort of makes like
Honestly, first of all, good job to you for getting that job.
Thank
Like,
you.
we're not gonna expose
Yeah.
it, but like, good job to you for being able to get a job in the male-dominated field. Because
Yeah,
that's
it's
also
really
another thing
good.
that's hard. Like, even though we have the rights and the equality to go forward and apply for that job and get it, obviously those stereotypes still exist, and
During
like those
recruitment
barriers,
process
yeah,
and onboarding,
those barriers,
yeah.
like, oh, like you're a woman, would you be able to like do the job properly, or like, or you're a woman, now
Can
I
you
can't
lift
say anything,
this? Can you do that?
or
Yeah.
can you like protect yourself against this, whatever. We can't
Yeah.
really expose you, but we're like exposing.
No, I'd like to say, like, during the recruitment process, I think, if I can remember on the top of the head, it was a room of, I think, 20 to 25 people, and there was 3 to 4 females.
I was about to say, have you guys ever been to an interview job where there's like all men and then you're just standing there like, hey?
Yeah, no, in the whole room, there was very
Like,
few
why
females.
is that? Why do they think that like they're more fit to like be interviewed for this job than a woman?
Yeah.
Like, I bring in the brains too.
I wanted to say, when females go into more a male-dominant field, we're sort of, not just by society or like the environment, but also like ourselves psychologically, we want to sort of fit
in,
into the
kind of.
role,
Yeah.
and be like more masculine.
So we like put aside our femininity.
Yeah,
Like
For sure.
we talked about this in elegance in law and like just those fields about how like you could start wearing different colors, like not wearing bright colors, like.
And
I
that
wanna
was
add to
what
that
my
point.
ahead.
I want to
I
add
see,
to that
I
point.
see.
At my workplace, I show up with my nails done. Okay, bright pink
Me too.
colors.
Guys, I got my
well,
nails
I don't
done
have them done
yesterday.
right now. Oh, yours are so pretty.
Right? Are
Yeah.
they? Thank you.
She
Sorry, go
got French,
ahead.
but hers is
Huh?
better. Mine are press-ons.
Really? But they're both French. We're 20.
Yeah.
Get on our level.
Get French next time.
Get on our level. Sorry.
Yeah. So I always
It's a
tell-
woman support woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's woman support
let me finish my
woman.
point.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I always have my nails done wearing like the girliest hairstyle I
Yeah.
can. Okay, because you guys know where I work now. Okay.
Yeah.
They
As
don't
you
know where I
should,
work now.
period.
With my bright pink water bottle, I need to show them I'm a female here.
That's capable of
bringing my
being in the
femininity.
same work
Yeah,
place.
being at the same workplace, being at the same level,
Yeah.
and that I should be treated the same.
Yeah. And I think it's one thing that also really has helped, since we talked about getting on our level. I think something that has really helped like make these laws possible is just simply women also supporting women.
For sure. That's so
Because
big.
there's a lot of women that you see that might not really support, or they're too scared to support, which I understand if you're scared, because it is a world that, you know,
you need to fit in a way.
It's like hard to like speak up in and all that. But I think something that has really helped is how simply, like we said, like we have this whole club, Women in Law, and the amount of women that I see that are going to law just actually makes me really relieved. Like I don't feel competition. I actually feel very encouraged, because I'm like,
I feel
okay,
sisterhood. Like I
yeah,
feel
like
happy
there's so
for
many
them.
people that are going to the same field as me. Like what am I scared of for going up, right? Like I feel like this woman supporting women thing is also really nice.
It's a whole community, and you get so much support from it too.
Yeah,
And like it makes so much of a difference. Like you don't even realize, but like it's
Even before like the podcast started, I entered the room, and as soon as I knew, like the energy was so good in
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, and law is a male dominated field as well. I think it's gotten better.
It has like a big history of it. Yeah.
I think from what I've seen personally, it's getting better. We're gonna make it better.
For sure.
And I wouldn't say that this is a lot of people, but I would say, since this thought is in my mind, obviously it's out in the world, people would prefer a male lawyer over a female one.
They think a female lawyer would be like too emotional,
immature, wouldn't know like everything she's doing, like she might not be experienced or something, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyways, we talked about a lot. We actually talked about a lot, but we got through the questions really fast because these women are straight to the point. They knew what they were gonna say.
We have a good host.
Oh, thank you. I was just asking the question. Honestly, you guys were like,
you carried.
Oh my god, stop. You guys are going like straight to the point, and I'm like, okay, great. Like, there's no room for me to say anything. Like, they said everything that needed to be said. We talked about abortion. We talked about maternity leave, employment laws, and I'm so happy to have you guys on this episode.
Thank you so
What
much
is
for having us.
your opinion
Oh my god, on what?
on women's rights, women's laws? Where do you think we lack?
We don't lack anywhere.
No, not women. But like,
No, like
let's get the host's opinion.
No, but like I added comments to get. It's like, okay, you guys didn't like everything you guys said. I agree with. Like, we covered abortion, maternity leave. Like, I think abortion obviously should be of choice because, like I said, a lot of people don't have they're not ready to have it. Or what if it happens by sexual assault and stuff? It should be a choice. And then regarding employment, like we obviously talked about the barriers and how, like I said, we're earning 71% of what men are earning, even though we outnumber them. Obviously, we need to work on that a little bit more, but it's gotten better. I'm so glad that it's at least above 50%, because when you think about it, you would be like, it's not as much, especially with the wage gap. Like, there's a lot of wage gap, but it's getting better. It's all about the fact that it's getting better, which I really appreciate.
I feel like we're saying a lot how women have been treated unequally or with inequality, discrimination.
Yeah.
And I feel like men can take offense to that. And I would too if I was a male. Like, why is there so much focus on women? Like, we've been trying to get equal to men since a long time. And even though we're still trying.
A lot of people are going to ask, you know what a lot of people are going to ask? What do you mean equal to men? Because they're going to be like, biologically. They're going to bring up biology.
They're going to bring that up
biologically.
First. Yeah.
Women and men are not equal.
Equal opportunity in society.
Because if I can prove myself to be good enough for that position, that I should get.
Yeah. And since we've been trying to fight for equality for so long, it's not that we're not getting equality at all.
Yeah.
We're slowly working towards.
It's getting better.
Yeah.
Like but also like the abortion laws also apply for men.
Yes, of
like
course.
I know a lot of men that do not want to be fathers right now. That are not ready to be fathers, or I know a lot of guys have sisters or mothers that they want them to improve in the employment field, and like those type of roles, or they want to make sure that their their girlfriend, their wife, their sister, their mother are safe. Like it's not even against men, it's just how it is. Basically, in a sense.
That's why we tell men to support women in law.
And we have some amazing men in our club. We'll have an episode with them.
Of course,
to get their perspective on everything, which should be very interesting because we're women in love field. I'm so proud of.
I know.
The amount of time it took to put up this banner, I'm just going to say
It took
this.
us 40 minutes.
Shout out to Maheen. This has
Maheen
never
saved
happened.
us.
Like, this has never happened, but, like, shout out. Oh, anyways, so any final thoughts?
I feel like we covered all of it.
We covered so
We
much.
covered, I'm actually really proud of you guys. You guys did amazing. We covered so much in such little time. You guys were straight to the point, which I love that, but I guess, you know, it was amazing. Thank you so much for being
Thank you
here.
so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. And I hope you all enjoyed. And wait for our next episode. Bye.
Bye.